Hey, good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Coffee People podcast recap episode. Thank you for being here and being a supporter of our Coffee People platform. I'm your host, Ryan Woldt. You can follow or subscribe to this show wherever you're listening, but you'll only find the bonus context, links, recaps to this episode on coffeepeoplepodcast.com. This podcast is presented by our friends at Roastery Coffee Packaging. You can find them online at roastery.com. Check out Roastery to find examples of high quality, affordable, customizable packaging that they offer for coffee, tea, snacks, and beyond. That's at roastery.com. Our recent podcast guest, Sam Larobardiere, is the co-founder and operator of Theory Coffee Roasting in Redding, California, as well as a collaborator in Podium Coffee Club, a subscription coffee program that only offers coffees from award-winning coffee roasters. We're here to recap a bit of that show. If you didn't have a chance to listen to the full pod, or you just want us to reinforce a few important takeaways for you. For starters, Sam has a great beard, which kind of makes us look alike. I'll share a side-by-side on the video and on the newsletter at coffeepeoplepodcast.com. It's actually why I reached out to Sam to have him on the pod. My wife saw a photo of him online and asked if it was me. And unfortunately, I said no, he's taller. And I think his beard's probably a little better. Sam got to start in coffee by being a roaster. The first iteration of what would become Theory was a mobile cart collaboration. It was a mobile cart and then a mobile cart collaboration with another roaster. Back in the early days, there were about 3 roasters in his town. And during a sourcing trip to Nicaragua, Sam and his future business partner, Jason Miller, got to talking about what they wanted for the future of their businesses. And it seemed like they wanted a lot of the same things. It seemed clear to Sam that they could either compete to the death of one of their companies or join forces. And Jason agreed. So by combining their efforts, each bringing their own customer base and ideas, they were able to be stronger, grow faster, and with the ancillary benefit of exponential growth of a supportive community who appreciated what they were doing for the art and the craft and the care they put into it. The efforts that they had made, building that audience at pop-ups and farmers markets and hosting events, paid off when they finally opened the doors of their first cafe before officially being licensed. The initial sales at Theory went beyond their expectations and certainly, compared to the time at the cart, made them think, yeah, we made the right call. The partnerships that he's had in the ownership of Theory have changed some over the years. Sam's role has changed as well. He loved being a roaster, but was bitten by the unexpected desire to grow his business and the company. And once that idea of growth was planted, he just couldn't let it go. He used the word intoxicating, which I thought was a great way of putting it. It kind of gets stuck in your head. The byproduct of that growth was the necessity to put faith and trust in his team to take on the day-to-day duties that he might have otherwise done for himself, but was now taking a bigger picture viewpoint of. And so he grew as a manager, as an owner. And I think we both took turns acknowledging that maintaining sanity is an admirable goal for an entrepreneur, but not a guarantee. Work at the ownership level, or even that of a manager who cares, doesn't stop just because a clock says it's time or the whistle blows. Sam proffered that entrepreneurial work-life balance is a myth, and you should be prepared to put yourself out there in a way that pushes you to the limit. I would agree, physically, mentally, and emotionally. I have seen that limit. I have been to that edge and looked over, and in some cases I fell backwards and curled up into the fetal position. Others, I went right over the edge into the abyss, and with Coffee People, we're still just climbing to the summit. Growth in business is sometimes the byproduct of opportunity as well. Billionaire entrepreneur Mark Cuban was recently speaking of the value of being prepared to strike when the time is right. And sometimes that means doing nothing. Nothing right now anyways, even if you can, because the timing isn't right. That can be hard to identify. But for Sam, the pandemic actually led to favorable lease terms for a second Theory location, which was only miles from their original shop, but was an entirely different audience. I don't know what town you live in, but sometimes towns are kind of split by a major landmark, whether it's a highway or a river or something else. A few miles can make all the difference. I asked Sam for some coffee smart advice on behalf of our presenting sponsor, Roastar Coffee Packaging. And to paraphrase our conversation there, he said that you don't need a ton of gear to get started. You don't need a lot of coffee minutia just to open the doors or get your card out or start your business. But you will do your business a great service if you invest yourself into the community around you as much as possible. You can add to the coffee setup as you go. The caveat being that the quicker you can get to that espresso machine, the better. But just opening the doors and hoping for the best, it isn't enough. Certainly not now, as we're approaching a more saturated specialty coffee marketplace in some coffee mad communities and just some normal communities. People like coffee and people want to work in things that they like. Coffee's definitely been the beneficiary of that. Secondarily, if you do open a shop, do it well. Not going into debt is great, but sometimes it reflects what you're presenting to the audience poorly. So Sam suggests that you learn to use debt wisely. Thirdly, never underestimate lighting, which I wholeheartedly agree, especially in the restaurant, cafe space. Too bright, I'm not walking through those doors. I would argue that there isn't a too dark, short of black, but that's just me. And finally, kind of the last piece of Coffee Smarter advice, have a true passion for hospitality. You need to have a true passion for hospitality, for making people happy. In Sam's Theory Coffee, the customer is always cooler than he is, always cooler than the staff. It's a simple recipe for success, but it's one that works more times than not. I always say, be like a duck, calm and cool above the surface, but kicking away fiercely down below. Remember that you're there to offer a service to people who are coming through the doors, so don't suck the energy out of the room. You can go do that in whatever your version of a scream closet is. Beyond Theory, Sam has gotten involved in a second collab, Podium Coffee Club. The subscription coffee program sells coffees from U.S.-based award-winning roasters or roasting competitors who've stood on the podium at events like Golden Bean or the Roastronics Pro Cup. Finally today, if Sam wanders through the door of your cafe, he's going to order an espresso and either a pour-over or a filter coffee, depending on your menu. He mentioned that there has been a trend towards non-including pour-overs as often on menus at cafes. I haven't actually seen that in my own experience, but I also haven't been looking specifically for it. Curious to know what you think. Are pour-overs essential to a specialty coffee shop? Let us know in the comments. That's our recap of the episode featuring coffee roaster, owner, operator, green coffee buyer, and entrepreneur Sam Larobardiere. You can watch or listen to the entire episode of the Coffee People podcast on most podcast platforms and YouTube. We could certainly use your help in growing our YouTube subscriber list. You can find us there at Coffee People Podcasts. All the important links are in this show. Thanks to our friends and partners, including Roastar Coffee Packaging, Sivetz Roasting Machines, Hacea Coffee Source, Relative Coffee Company, and of course, all of you. Wherever you are, please tip your baristas. And of course, drink good coffee. Cheers, everyone.